so the idea is we're trying to, overall idea is like, hey, like as a therapist, you always feel like you need to have the answer, give advice, and when somebody, well, and you need to keep giving those advices. But the example is, that kid that always have raised their hand every question the teacher has. Nobody likes that kid, even the teacher. The truth is, nobody likes a smartass. So stop trying to impress people by giving advice, and trying to be impressive is not. Trying to be impressive is not impressive. But while we were talking about that, you brought up the fact that I don't know if I can say that, right? So can you
Yeah.
explain that? Like what is the reason why you don't feel comfortable saying that?
Yes. One reason for that is because I need to. It kind of sounds like a strong message to say to another colleague, because it sounds like I'm criticizing them, and in my mind, I'm thinking about the therapists that would or coaches that will read that and maybe find themselves there. And I would like to have a good relationship with the community I'm in, like the community of therapists and coaches. So,
Those are two separate things, right? One is because you want to maintain this relationship,
yes.
and the other one, the first one was that you don't want to sound like what?
I mean, it's so for me, this is if I am criticizing them, it implies that I'm affecting our relationship with other therapists. This is on my mind. So, and the second thing is um, that this is advice that I need to.
Which part of that? Sorry, which part of that? What we just said, do you think is the criticism? Do you think is like the worst part?
Just
Like,
just the fact like that I'm addressing hey therapists and coaches. If it's like a random thing for people that want to look smart, this is good. I don't mind. But only if I'm like pinpoint to them.
what's the difference?
I guess uh, the thing that I am separating myself from them, because this is advice I also need to hear from time to time, that I
Okay, then maybe
do less.
maybe that's how you word it. Maybe instead of saying you, say we. I actually think that's a really good point.
Okay.
I do that a lot actually. I catch myself like a lot of the times I don't say you should do that, you should do that. Sometimes I say, we as humans tend to be this way. So we need to do this.
Well, this puts a lot of pressure from my chest, because then I don't have like high expectations that I need to like fulfill that. Like I'm in the same place like them.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
limiting.
what you're saying is you just don't want to sound like you're preaching, or you don't want to sound like you're better than them, and that's why
Exactly.
you're giving the
Exactly.
advice. Yeah,
Exactly.
you want to include yourself, so just then all you got to do is use the word we instead of you. Hey, as therapists and coaches, we tend to always, love to give advice, blah blah blah.
Yes.
But that kid, that nobody likes them, so nobody likes a smart ass.
Yes.
So let's try to stop trying to impress, you know, or something like that. But other than that, the message itself is not. It's not like the message itself you think is going to offend the therapist.
Mm, I guess if I think that this is the main reason. If I separate myself from the message, or if I'm in the message, so I guess this is it. In the
Hmm.
first place, when I was when the idea was not to mention therapists and coaches and just talk in general,
Yeah.
it's too broad, too general. So you kind of, it's not so specific. So
Okay, so let's think about that. Why is it that when it's general, you don't feel like preachy?
I guess that because it's common sense, so people get it.
Well, if it's common sense, it should work for a therapist too. I mean, like
It
really,
sounds it sounds less personal when you criticize society and when you criticize a specific profession. So
like when you criticize therapists, it sounds maybe like you're like a more experienced therapist
yes, yes,
trying to teach
this is the main
a
problem.
younger therapist.
Yes, this is the main problem because if I imagine right now that I'm criticizing doctors and I could criticize them, I don't have a problem with that. But if I criticize therapists, then I have a problem because I'm also part of the problem.
I see. Yeah, maybe one time we should dig a little bit deeper into this topic because I I feel like one of the reasons why um like one thing I wish I could teach everyone,
Okay.
show people is for them to like literally give zero fucks when they make this content and honestly really say what they want to say without any worry about what other people are going to think, what other people in my industry is going to think. Like literally don't zero fucks and just completely saying what you want to say the way you want to say it. Right?
Okay. So this is your goal, right?
No. Like I would love for people to actually get there and try it and then see the reaction to that. Like for
Yeah.
a prolonged period of time. Let's say
Yeah,
for a month or something like that.
I don't know why I have the vibe that you need to be in some to really know what you're speaking about for having that responsibility of saying whatever you want. Because, I mean, you're speaking about, I don't know, like average teenager that is posting content every day on whatever topic. But if you look from the perspective of quality, this is not a material that has anything like meaningful for people that are consuming it. So in my mind, it comes with a lot of expertise. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's I think it come I think a lot of the reasons why people censor themselves
Okay.
or edit themselves is kind of it's kind of like what you just said about like I don't want my colleagues to think blah whatever it is. I think it's a lot of that where um you know it's very actually related to that Gabor Mate's thing where she talks about attachment and authenticity
Mm-hmm.
where as a child you know we need attachment from adults like when
Yeah.
from adult we need that to show that this person cares and blah 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 and then we also need to be authentic but what happens is as a child we give up our authenticity in order to seek
For the
approval
sake of
for
the
to
attachment.
get for the attachment right
Mm-hmm.
now and then you grow up what happens is that then you're doing the same thing you're giving up your authenticity I don't want to say this because I don't want my colleagues to think of me this way
Yeah.
I don't want to get you know what I mean I don't want to say this because I don't want other designers to say that and I think even that comes from and I would love to see what happens when you really are being completely authentic in your content and just saying however you want to say it, and then kind of see the result of that. It's almost like it'll be interesting to see what they learn from that, because I think what they'll learn is that your colleagues don't give a shit. That they're not going to judge you for it, and a lot of them will actually agree with you, and it'll even get to a point where um, one of the best things about you saying whatever you want on social media,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like this. Like it's like even with your friends, if you say whatever you want, and then some of your friends stop hanging out with you because of that, great. Now you figure out who your real friends are.
Okay. So, did you sometimes regret because you did something, you posted something, or you kind of,
Yeah, but that means if I regret, that means it wasn't authentic,
but it
right?
was authentic at that moment, right?
Yeah, it was authentic at that moment, but it's kind of like, I don't know if you were in the small group meeting, but one of the things that we talked about is you don't like your gut, your intuition. If you're listening to your gut and your intuition to tell you what's authentic to you,
Okay.
it's not always going to be right, but over time it becomes more correct. So, for example, like the example that I give is, when I was 19 years old, my intuition told me, I just want to sit here and you know smoke some weed and just watch TV all day. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go to class.
Mm-hmm.
That was my gut feeling, right? My intuition, my authentic self told me that. But after doing that for a while, I felt miserable. But
Mm-hmm.
when I did wake up early, go to the gym and go be productive and things like that, that actually made me feel much more happier and fulfilled. So over time, my intuition now knows that, yeah, I want to sit here and just do nothing and be lazy. But my intuition knows that that's, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think over time, your intuition learns like that. Your gut learns those things unknowingly.
Okay. So, did you go back to your post, for example, that you regret you posted, and did you delete it?
I'm trying to see if there's any post that I mean, like for example, the first carousel that I posted. Now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds like so. I can kind of feel like the ego in that post, like me trying to prove myself and like trying to, name drop and all these kind of things. And looking back, um, yeah, I guess back then maybe that wasn't maybe it was my ego that was doing that, and I wasn't really being authentic fully in that post. Would I go back and remove it? No. You know what I even did?
Do you feel
I
embarrassed
even
when you look at that post?
yeah, it feels cringe. But here's the thing, like I even reshared that post. I don't know if you remember recently, like a couple months ago. I reshared that post and I even talked about how cringe this is and how fucking I can smell the ego like in this post and like how, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's embarrassing,
Okay, so
I did it anyway.
did that affect your confidence in this area that you're working?
My confidence in what? In what
Your
area?
confidence in like how good you see yourself in your skill of writing carousels and marketing advices and so on.
No, I don't think it changed anything. Because yeah, no, it didn't really change anything.
Mm,
The confidence is kind of like,
so
the
when did
the weird thing is,
when from what how long ago that post?
like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So
But I look at websites that I made like 10 years ago, and it's like, yeah, there's some things that I did wrong there, but I don't feel, maybe it's because I've been doing it for so long, right? And what you just made me realize is that if you have to think about confidence, oh, am I confident in this? Am I not confident in this? That probably means you're not confident. Because the things that you're really confident about, you don't even think that way about. For example, are you confident? Are you confident? Are you confident in walking? Are you a good walker? Right?
yeah, okay.
Like when you were a baby and you first learned how to walk, and your mom is like, "Yay!" and you're like happy. Yeah. At that moment, you're thinking about confidence, but at some point, this becomes so second nature to you. And then even if you make a mistake or something like that, you don't feel embarrassed about. Do you understand what I mean? It's because
Mm.
and that's how I think confidence works. Is that for me, yes, it's cringe, but for me, making carousels, design, those things are like, it's kind of like breathing. Yeah, I might mess up breathing sometimes. Maybe I forgot to take a breath or whatever, blah, 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 but I don't feel ashamed about that.
Mm,
I don't know if that makes sense.
um, it seems like, when it's only up to you if you are a good walker or not a good walker. It's up to you.
Mm.
But if if you're not the only one in the process, or somebody depends on your expertise in something, then I guess that, I mean, we all evolve in life, so we are not the same, and to everybody it's obvious. So if you're a therapist, if you're a coach, whatever you are evolving. You're not the same person from the beginning till now, but it looks like you need to show like you are, even if you're a beginner, you need to look at least like you know what you're doing, because somebody is depending on if you can do the work or not. So the thing is, you never know when you are good. So it means that the whole life you need to fake that you are good, because you never know when is enough.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can just say, yeah, I'm gonna make mistake. I'm gonna be wrong sometimes, or whatever it is, and that's okay.
So the fact that you need to show like you're good enough means that whatever you see that that something is like beginner version is the proof that you're not good enough, because right now this is not like you're
Yeah,
over
yeah,
that
almost.
phase,
Yeah,
and now you have another step.
yeah. And
So
I actually think that you do that long enough, you're gonna get to a point where it's like what I said before about scientists. The people who say the people who are most comfortable saying I don't know are usually scientists, and they're usually the smartest people in the world. Are usually the ones that feel most comfortable saying I don't know.
yeah,
You know who feels the least comfortable saying I don't know? The dumbest people in the world. So yeah.
yeah.
So confidence, like
So the main
So
question is
to
how
you, who's more confident? The dumb people who has answer for everything, or the smart people who says I don't know all the time? Who's more confident?
if we just measure confidence, then dumb people are
Yeah.
more confident.
No. Dumb people are less confident. That's why they feel the need to make up the wrong answer to give instead of saying I don't know. The
Okay,
scientists,
okay, this
the
means that
smart
they're.
people are so confident that they're confident enough to
I
say I don't
know,
know.
I know, I know what you want to say. Yeah.
No.
So the main point that I see is how to accept actually changing version of yourself. So, I mean, these smart guys, they can say, I don't know, but if you actually show them what they said 10 years ago, because maybe on the same question they would have like, yeah, I know it's this theory, probably they would feel
Maybe.
they would feel embarrassed because of that fact that, oh my god, how ridiculous that was. So
Yeah. I mean, I think I have that moments like where I go back, but I don't feel embarrassed. I actually, yeah, I don't feel embarrassed about my past self because, yeah, I'm willing to admit, yeah, I was a moron. Like, I actually like one of the first things that I say, I, and I truly believe this. Like when I see younger people right now, like, you know, like when I see like a 25-year-old employee that I have, like that kid is way smarter than me than when I was 25. Like when I was 25, I was like a total loser. So, and I have no problem saying that because it's true. And it's, yeah. I actually think that if you have a problem saying that, you're almost putting your 25-year-old self in a pedestal. Like, oh, look how cool I was. Trying to like, you have an expectation of how you want other people to look at you when you were 25 or something like that. But
mhm.
I could really care less. And that it's related to this thing where when you post something that is true in your heart, that you believe and you want to say it, but you hold yourself back, your authenticity back, because you're afraid of like what these people might say. That's really not that different than that child
Yeah,
holding their authentic self back in front of their parents.
yeah, true.
And I would even argue that a lot of that actually comes from their childhood. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's afraid to make anybody angry on social media, maybe that's because their parents were always angry, and it was your job to make sure that you don't piss them off, right? So you always had to tiptoe around your parents. Or if somebody's like needs to be really smart, maybe that's because every time when you said something incorrect or you got a B or C, your parents like punished
Mm.
you, right? So however we show up on social media, if we're not completely showing up exactly as ourselves and we're hiding some parts of ourselves or we're worried that some parts of ourselves might offend somebody or something like that, we should look into that because those things probably are coming from something that happened in our childhood.